Gambia, youths who make majority of the electorates are sometimes marginalized or sidelined when it comes to decision makings or having political roles in the Gambia. Today with me in the studio we have three gentlemen that are going to help me digest to tell us why this is and what is standing in the way for youths to be involved in the decision making of the country. Good evening, you're watching Youth Dialogue and I'm your host, Jacqueline Goli. In me in the studio, on my far right, I have Mr. Biran Gay from CRPD, who's here to give us all the data we need about youth representation and in elections and in politics, to be precise. And next to him, I have Mr. Al-Hassan Drame, who's the Secretary General of the NPP student wing of the University of the Gambia. And on my left, I have Mr. Lamin Drame, who's the Secretary General. Lamin Mane, yeah. My apologies. I have Mr. Lamin Mane, who's also the Secretary General of the NPP. Oh my goodness. It's not deliberate, Mr. Mane. I see. Of the UDP. Okay, I'll start over. On my left, I have Mr. Lamin Mane, who is the UDP Secretary General Student Wing of the University of the Gambia. Gentlemen, welcome to the studio, and thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. It's really a great pleasure to be here as we discuss youth political participation in the Gambia. Looking forward to sharing the data that we have since 2024. I think it still make a lot of sense considering the current nature of politics in the Gambia. And I hope we can dissect a lot more on it.
Yeah, sure. And before we delve into the topic of the day, which is youth participation in election, Mr. Guy here has the details and the data that we need for us to kickstart the discussions. You did a survey that was in 2024, July 2024, about youth participation in politics and elections as well. Can you kindly give us the data when it comes to this? Because in the Gambia, like I said in my introduction, youths are always marginalized, even though we make the greater number when it comes to elections and the likes. So tell us, what does the data say?
Yes, thank you so much. Like we've been saying, when it comes to election and electioneering in Africa, I think young people plays a major role during campaigns, likewise voting, because they are the majority. And in the Gambia as well, that is the case. So in 2024, we conducted a survey at the CRPD in partnership with NDI, National Democracy Institute. A total of 1,200 respondents were interviewed to give us their perspective as it relates to youth political participation, to understand the barriers that exist why young people are not involved in decision making at political party level, but also in government as well, and likewise the National Assembly. So you realize that in terms of the survey, 54% of the respondents were young people, aged between 18 and 35. And in terms of the gender representation also, we make sure that it was 50-50 based on the population of the Gambia as well. And also to understand, just to start with, the youth turnout gap, which is also real. You realize that of the total number of people that we interviewed, 58.5% of the votes were, of the people that we interviewed, 18 to 25 years old, 58.5%, which is 34 and below the number of citizens aged 46 below. So you realize that in terms of overall turnout of young people, as it relates to the question that we asked, youth and voter turnout in election, 73% of them were young people, 73%. 87% were of the older generation, which you normally have during local government elections. You have more older people that turn out to vote during elections. But nonetheless, you realize that 73% of the people that we interview were young people as well. But then there are different barriers that exist when we ask the question as to why people do not vote during election, in terms of voter apathy and so on. The registration barriers that people highlight or the major issues that young people highlight as it relates to them not voting in elections? There are many. 6.5% said that they were not allowed to vote in the election. Now, we do not investigate further to understand why they were not allowed to vote. Is it because a lack of documentation? We don't know. That is maybe for the political parties to investigate further.
Yeah.
But some also highlighted 6.5% said that polling points were too far. Okay? And as a result, that most of them also do not register to vote during that time. Because we asked question, have you voted in the last elections? That will be 2021, as well as the local government, elections that existed.
Yeah.
So all parties are the same. Some youth abstain because they say UDP and NPP, they're 6 and 9. They're more or less the same, so no need to vote. If you vote for UDP and you vote for NPP, it's still the same. There is that voter apathy that also exists. These are not my opinion.
I will interject.
They are opinion
from there.
of young people. Yes.
Mr. Mane, Mr. Drame, rather.
Yeah.
You were laughing when he mentioned that. Yeah. How would you convince someone that is watching that will agree with what Mr. Guy just said, according to the survey, that why would they vote because NPP and UDP are all the same? How would you differentiate your party from that?
Well, I think NPP and UDP are very, very different in terms of their approach, in terms of their political philosophy. We are like the sky and the soil. So we are very different. Because when you look at our leadership itself, the way we approach democracy, we are very tolerant. And you would rarely see those things manifest in other political parties. So when they say UDP and NPP are the same, I'm
not saying they're saying that. They're saying parties. I'm just giving an example.
Parties. Okay, you are saying UDP and
Yeah.
you chose that. I
because,
was going to investigate because I know there are other political parties too. So why would they
in general
want
speaking?
to stay
Because
away?
you are the biggest parties, like I mentioned before we started.
Yes.
When you mention political parties, it was the rivalry is always between NPP and UDP, because UDP, like I said, is one of the biggest opposition parties in the country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we also, NPP is very tolerant. I think that is why people are even joining the party at a very large scale, because they are very tolerant. When you come to NPP, rarely would you see somebody come to NPP, leave NPP without coming back. Most of the time, they'll want to come back to NPP.
Okay.
And rarely would you see them leave that particular party that they've gone to and go to another party without coming to NPP. Because that shows you how peaceful the party is, how accommodative we are to our members.
Mr. Mane.
Yeah, I think Mr. Al-Hassan is jumping the goalpost, because the reason why political parties are formed is because of the difference in opinions and ideas. So, and that will formulate the policies that we have. If you investigate thoroughly the policies of United Democratic Party and the NPP, there is quite a huge gap that you will understand, and I believe the professor here will agree with me on that. So you cannot put these two parties in the same bag, calling them 6 and 9, when you do not thoroughly investigate their policies and programs. As we know now that NPP is already in government, and we know their capabilities around all the strategic sectors of the economy and how governance is run, we know what they have as far as policy is concerned. And for UDP, that is the implementation aspects of their policy. For UDP, we've been selling our policies to the governments for the past few years. And then, most importantly, our 5-point agenda. It's an agenda that is well known by many of our party supporters, and even the media and many other scholars that are in the country here. So putting these two parties together, to me, is that you do not want to read and understand what are the differences with these parties, because myself, Gay, you, and Al-Hassan, we are all black people. At one point, if we see ourselves in one Chinese country, they just say that they're just black people. They are not interested in our tribes, in our political affiliations, in our religious affiliations, but the color. So I think many people see us as a party, but what distinguishes us is what they fail to thoroughly investigate, and you cannot blame them much. I think that is to the level of how we communicate our ideas and policies to the grassroots. And if we do not do that to the larger extent, people will tend to associate all political parties as the same. And I think This one is a case study, but common Gambian will tell you that politicians are the same. So the difference is how we communicate and convince people on the ground as far as our policies are concerned.
Right. Mr. Guy, what are the Gambians saying about young leaders in the survey?
I think, you know, I was just trying to finish off this point about the reason why people are not interested in voting. 10.7% say that my vote will not make any difference. It's the same as saying that all political parties are the same. There's people who are fixated on that. But how you change that, that will be the focus of political parties.
Exactly.
Transforming the apathy that people have, the refusal of people going out there and voting. Other reasons, which are not stated, 18.9% say other reasons. But again, a staggering number, 48.5% say they could not register to vote. That is also something we need to investigate. Why is that? Is it because that the places are too far for them to go and register? I mean, a lot of young people, they may hear voter registration exercise, but if the incentive, the will, is not there, you expect most of them to sit, relax, and stay cool. So what you need to do, therefore, is, you know, continuous advocacy. Advocacy around voting, the need to vote, the importance of voting, and I think these are very fundamental important things that also matters. But again, Gambians are ready to vote for young people, which is also very important.
And that will drive our conversation tonight.
Yes, an overwhelming majority of Gambians during our survey, 90.5% of respondents say that they are ready to vote for a young leader. But do young people usually contest at the highest echelon of party politics or when they are in government? Are political leaders giving young people the opportunity to lead? Because at the end of the day, partisan politics really matters. It is true partisan politics where young people emerge as young leaders. But in the Gambia, what we usually see is what gerontocratic leaders occupying spaces on top. We have seen parties that are headed by the older generation for decades of years. Now, how do we navigate such an environment where you fit in young people to not only be followers of political parties, but beyond youth wing adventures as well?
And that brings me to my question.
Yes.
As leaders of your youth wings, do you think your political parties hold you as partners or as decision making, or you're just there for, you know, campaign volunteerism?
You want to go first?
Of course. If you look at the United Democratic Party, I think you'll all agree with me that our representation as far as youths are concerned in representative positions is lucrative. You go to the National Assembly, we consist of at least the best portion of young people representation in Parliament. That is both from the female aspect and the male aspect. We have the highest representation of female in the Parliament.
How many young people are we talking about?
Well, relatively, we have 16 parliamentary seats in 2022 parliamentary election, or 2023, I don't know exact. But we, at least 7 or 8 would be young people. But also, you check the chairmanship also. You talk about the Burbanyu, Rohi Malik Lo, you talk about Talib Ahmed Bensouda, you talk about Landin Sane and Chairman Yankuba Dabo. Relatively,
would
these
you
are
consider
all...
Rohi Malik Lo to be a young leader?
Yeah. He's a young leader in politics.
As per the definition,
As per the definition of youth, 18 to 35,
youth.
Would you consider her to be a youth?
Yeah, but you might not consider her to be a youth, but
they are in transition. Huh?
They are in transition. That shows our commitment to, you know, paving way to young people to come in and be inspired by this set of leaders. But look at our youth wings, you look at our female youth wings, you look at our students wing. These are pioneer activities of the United Democratic Party, more so the students wing. These are also intellectual hubs of the party. If you look at myself today, I am participating across board as far as UDP political engagements are concerned. From these supplementary registrations, we are on the ground, you know, from Khartoum to Bolibana to see how this process are unfolding, to bring in data, to help the party navigate, even to fill in forms for this revising court. So we are more or less the intellectual hub of the party as of now, and then that means that in the fullness of time, we will have our own time as far as party representation is concerned. But as of now,
when is the right time?
Well, the right time is that you cannot also come and say you want to force yourself onto people. So there needs to be a time where you know.
But is your party availing the youth the opportunity to be part of the top executives that are making, you know, the party work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In the United Democratic Party, youth wing executive are also part of the Central Executive Committee. That is the highest decision-making body in the party. So that means youth matters are also discussed at the Central Executive Committee of the party. And even with the students' wing, now I'm also part of the United Democratic Party youth wing. So my inputs are also as important as the inputs of any elderly person in the United Democratic Party. So of UDP, you can say anything about us, but you know, bringing the youth into limelight as far as political participation is concerned is something that you will give credit to us.
Mr. Drame.
Yes, thank you so very much. For the National People's Party too, we are big on empowering young people. Because even at government level, you see there were so many appointments of young people at higher governmental level. So that shows the desire that we have to put young people in power. And also we have a students wing, which is very vibrant, and a youth wing, which is very vibrant. And in fact, in the drafting...
Led by somebody over 50 years.
It's my time.
Somebody over 50 years, youth wing.
This is what I was mentioning.
No,
we are very tolerant, very peaceful.
That you cannot have a youth wing president over 50 years.
No, but it's my time. Okay, hold on a minute. So when you look at all those things, and also the inclusion of young people in the committee that would draft the NPP manifesto, which is great. That was it is a very progressive manifesto according to what people say, and very consultative. And young people were there, seated on that, looking at the things that they need to add there. So NPP is actually very proactive in bringing young people in their matters. And also we have championed so many activities coming down to NPP induction, which is something that probably has never happened in the country. I've never heard of it, of a political party having an induction where the members of the political party will be inducted on the principles of the political party, because we've seen that so many political parties would have people just following and beating drums, but they wouldn't understand why they are in the political party in the first go. So we try to solve this issue by including these activities there, and that was championed by young people. So looking at all these things, and also nationwide activities when it comes to voter sensitization, voter registration, we have seen the students going across the country to all regions of the country, going to schools to engage students and also talk to them about their civic duties. So these are things that we are doing, and it shows that NPP is really serious about the young people and the future of the young people. And also when we look at the scholarships that we have given, which is unprecedented, we have given out $8 million worth of scholarship to young people. And when you invest in somebody's education, especially a young person, then you are investing in their future, and you are also investing in the country.
You made mention you have a 58-year-old leading a youth wing. How comfortable are you people with having someone that is way beyond the age limit that we have here, 18 to 35? That is who is considered to be a youth.
Tell him to bring out the birth certificate that shows that that person is 58 years old. Cannot. But he also said something here that is very wrong. He said they have women in the parliament. I'm still thinking of how many women you have in the parliament.
The women representation in the parliament?
Yeah.
I think UDP, everybody commends them for the threshold of women representative in parliament. That necessarily have to depend on how much do we put forth to Gambians to vote.
No, but you said you have women representation in the parliament.
Many of the women that they have nominated now, these are women that
were
one time entrusted into parliamentary positions through United Democratic Party.
Mr. Guy, let me answer your question.
Let him answer your question.
Let us not.
They are just about rhetorics.
Let him answer your question on the youth leadership there.
Mr. Guy, can you tell us what the survey has about the last government elections we had and why the youths are not voting, and the discussions?
Yes, I think what they are saying and what the data is saying is a different thing. They're defending their political parties, and I understand that. But I will tell you what Gambian thinks about why aren't more young people elected into public position. Young people are not good leaders. That's the perception of some Gambian. 13% of Gambians believe that. Young people aren't interested in leading. 24% of Gambians think that young people are not interested in leading. Why do you think that is the case? You know, so these are very important points that matters. Young people also face harassment, discrimination, 30.7% said so. People are not ready to vote for young people, 31.8%. You need to give a context to that, because majority of Gambians said they're willing to vote for a young candidate if they stand in terms of the previous question that we asked. But the most important thing is that 44.2% say that senior politicians don't give youth a chance. When we say senior politician, we are saying what? Career politician. Those who've been there for decades of years, leading political parties, but also occupying important government position. Likewise, important position within party executive. I don't know how so is that, but this is what people are saying, that those people don't want to give way for young people.
If a 27-year-old competent youth wants to take up, let's say, to be a National Assembly member, to be precise, do you think your party would support that person's candidacy over a long-serving parliamentarian or politician over the 27-year-old competent?
Who, me? You want to go first?
You can come this time.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, for the NPP, I mean, challenges do happen. Challenges do happen. Everybody has an ambition. And I wouldn't be a young person and pretend that young people don't have it rough sometimes. But then at the end of the day, sometimes it's politics. And if you want to be a politician, if you want to make change, because as a politician, I believe it should be driven by purpose. You shouldn't just be joining politics for the sake of the glamour and the claps that people will give you. It has to be driven by purpose. And when it's driven by purpose, then you get to get going, even when the going gets tough. So you have to knock doors until your knuckles get bruises, and you have to make calls until probably your idiom may
do you think your party will give an opportunity to the
For our political parties, we have been given opportunities, and a majority of our parliamentarians are young people. Yeah, all young.
So you're sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I myself
will override a long-serving politician over a 27-year-old competent
I know
candidate.
that for sure. Although I cannot say that for UDP, because that is what happened to Talib, and
Let's
then they
hear
kicked
from
him
him.
out.
Mr. Mane.
Well, for the United Democratic Party, like I've mentioned earlier, we are known for giving chances to young people. The representation in Parliament is entirely young people because of the United Democratic Party. So when he is saying he cannot say that for us, certainly.
Well, he kicked out Talib.
Certainly, you know, it's there for all to see that the UDP have almost they are parliamentarians young. But there are procedures to having you as an MP if you want to contest. And as a young person, it's important that, you know, first you get yourself involved into serious formal political participation, so that when this position arises, you have a share to also apply for the positions. In the UDP, as far as I know, that when these positions are opened, they contest the position through the structures that they are coming from. So from that structures, the selections will be done, and then will end at the Central Executive Committee. So the United Democratic Party is a very democratic party, which gives, you know, at least the structures their, you know, free will to do the selection process of individuals that have, you know, contested under the placard of UDP. And we have seen what, you know, it brought to the party. It brought, you know, level-headedness in the party, young people, the likes of Talib that he's talking about. When Talib was contesting in the United Democratic, I think he was 29 or 30 years. He was relatively young. So there are a lot of old politicians that were in the party before Talib, and Talib was given the chance to lead from that docket as far as KMC is concerned. So that means that UDP gives chance to the young people. But you also talk about the likes of Rohio and Yankuba. The reason why I'm mentioning them, at relatively Gambian context and even global context, people consider them as young people, but it depends on the age limits that we have set in our frameworks, 35 years and below, or 35 years and above. But in politics, 50 years is relatively young compared to how other countries also see politics. And I think the professor will agree with me that in politics, 50 years similarly, people also see you as a young politician.
I don't want to dive deep into this, but I just have one question regarding Talib. You mentioned when he was joining the UDP and being elected as mayor, he was relatively young.
Yeah.
But what happened when he decided to bid to hold as the party flag bearer. He's young, and a lot of people were expecting that he would be nominated to be the party flag bearer. So what happened?
You see, this is not how things are done in rigid and democratic institutions. There was an opening that if you want to contest for the position of flag bearership in UDP, you have every right to do so. And Talib is not the only bona fide member of the United Democratic Party. He was not the only person that contested that position. At least there were 11 individuals from the United Democratic Party that have contested the position of flag bearer. And the guy that emerged victorious also has a stake and a fair representation in the United Democratic Party. He had the right to contest, likewise Talib has the right to contest. So whoever emerges victorious, people should rally behind them. This is what we have in our constitution. This is what we have, informed them. Whosoever contested that position, you knew that if you lost the position, you are not the only most intelligent person in that party. You are not the most resourceful person in the party. Whosoever emerged victory, you must. If you want to join, or if you also want to leave, you have all right to leave because of the Constitution has given you that chance. So Talib leaving the United Democratic
my question
Party
about having a 27-year-old competent leader to want to take leadership position within the party.
That's the beauty of democracy.
And also having a long-serving leader. They will always choose the long-serving one. Yeah. And they talk about onward experience. When would they gain experience if you don't give them the chance to do so?
For somebody who has been running for 6 times and losing, I mean, imagine you could have given a young person a chance.
I think it is important to understand that this is not only peculiar to the United Democratic Party, but across all political parties in the Gambia, as far as I am concerned.
Yeah.
When we talk about young people, I think we're referring to people like you, those in the younger age version. And quite often, what we see from political parties is that sometimes parties are seen as family cult or friendship cult.
Yeah.
Like the people that joined the struggle, be it the United Democratic Party, the DOI. I mean, those are the faces that you see. Yeah. That since the 1980s, it's the same faces that you see.
Yeah.
UDP since 1996, it's the same faces that you keep seeing. Although you have young people rising, but when it comes to the core leadership of the United Democratic Party, especially when it matters the most, and this equally applies to NPP. When they are in government, when they tend to be in government, are young people pick from youth wings and appointed ministers? Or are young people pick from youth wing and supported for National Assembly elections?
Yeah.
In most of the time, that is not the case. But also, certain barriers do also exist.
Yeah.
Politics nowadays costs a lot of money.
It does.
One of the barriers that young people identify is the costs involved in campaigning.
Yeah.
And political parties, some of them may be underfunded, some will support their candidate, but young people, sometimes you need to go beyond the financing of the political parties to contest and challenge others. So there is a challenge that also exists there. The financial issues facing young people is a major impediment as it relates to youth political participation in the Gambia. But maybe when we get to the next segment, I will also tell you that young people are not happy. And I will give you the numbers and figures as to why they're not happy. I think that has a lot to do with the NPP government.
Let's get there. Let's get there, Mr. Guy.
Yes, so young people are a frustrated generation. That is the characterization that we give it.
Okay.
76% of youth are dissatisfied or very dissatisfied with the state of the economy. That is that there is an inherent, maybe debilitating and exasperating nature of our economy in the Gambia. Yeah. And most young people are not happy as a result. Could this be the reason why there is voter apathy? Could this be the reason why young people are not interested to participate or to vote during election and so on? But 47% say the country also is not moving in the right direction at all. Please, let's note, this is a survey done in 2024. Yeah. So 2 years down the line, a lot has changed. Yeah. If we have to do this, the numbers might remain the same or they might have to change. Yeah. 69% of youth also believe that the Gambia needs a new constitution. This is not only peculiar to young people. We have done research, time without numbers. Majority of Gambians say that the country needs a new constitution. UDP will agree with this, NPP will also agree with this. Likewise, other political parties will also agree with this because we have the 2020 draft and the 2024 that were supported and rejected by both political parties at some point. So 33% of youths are also aware of the efforts to bring back the 2024 constitution. I think this survey was done before the 2024 draft was butchered again.
Yes.
But nonetheless, overall, 71% also rate the performance of the National Assembly as very poor. So young people do not rate the performance of the Gambia National Assembly in 2024 as doing a very good job. So these are some of the recent contentious issues that young people are so frustrated about as it relates to politics and the economy in the Gambia.
We've heard the survey. Mr. Drame,
Yeah.
I'll start from you. What do you make of why young people are not satisfied with whatever is happening in the country, according to the survey that Mr. Gay just gave us?
I'm tempted to clarify something before responding to that, because he said NPP, they are not putting young people into position, but when you look at people like Sabali, people like Amajit, they are all presidential advisors. They are in top position. Okay?
Exactly.
People like Kani Job, they are in petroleum. Those are all young people.
You mention, why
The
not
director of social
pick
security.
from youth wings and make them ministers? Why not pick from youth wings and bring them to
You
parliament?
being part of the youth wing is not a criteria to put you somewhere. Probably you are in another department doing something for the
So
party.
I'm not wrong
and you are
in my
qualified.
assessment, huh? Let's get that right. That you're not electing young people 18, 35 years below. That is a fact.
No, I mean, look at people like Alpha, MKLO.
But
They are all young. Alpha, MKLO, they are all young. They are putting them in top positions. They are all young people.
But these numbers
And
are
of
minimal.
recent, we have seen a lot of young people being put in position, as President Barrow did promise. Because before he did it, he promised that he was going to do it, and he did it.
What's the percentage of that?
Well, exactly.
I cannot give you a percentage right now.
They're very
We will have to
minimal.
do
We're not
some
saying young
statistics.
people are not
Are
in
not
certain
being elected,
positions.
but
But yes, we are
it's
saying that
minimal.
there is improvement compared to before. There's a lot of improvement. That is what I'm trying to say. And if you go into your research, probably it would say that there's a lot of improvement.
Again, huh?
Huh?
Maybe
Are
we
you
have to
saying
do
if we
the
do a
research
survey again?
No, no,
that-
even now, with his research, that's what I'm saying. Yes, because everybody knows. And he gave a percentage of 43%. I think that is what you cited.
Well, don't
But-
you have policies in your youth wings that you want to push forward to your party so that they will be electing from your youth wings, making them ministers and holding high government places?
So we have to make something clear here, being a young person and also being part of the youth wing. Are you focusing on being part of the youth wing and going into the government, or being a young person in the party and
Not you,
appointed
but
in
at
the-
least let there be standards.
Yes, for young people, they are going into the government. They have been given position. But you don't necessarily have to be part of the youth
But
wing.
what
That is
are the
I'm trying to
purposes
say.
of your youth wings, if I may ask?
We are serving the country. That is the main purpose. When you come into politics for NPP, I don't know about other political parties, but for NPP, when you come in, you should be there to serve the country. That is
How?
that should
How
be
are
your
you
primary
serving?
purpose.
How are the youth wings serving, Mr.
If
Drame?
people have needs,
He
you
doesn't
try.
understand your
If
question.
people have needs, then you are supposed to solve it for them. And also, part of the youth wing, that is the students wing. We've seen a lot of donations being given out to students who are needy, especially student leaders, because we feel for them, we understand that when they make promises, they have to fulfill it. So when they come to us, they tell us that their members are facing some issues, maybe scholarship issues or issues with their welfare. We try to chip in, we try to step in with the little that we can do. So all those contribute to those students. And also the scholarships that I have mentioned, that is a lot. $8 million is not $8. It's a lot of money that goes into their finance and also their education. So, and also when you look at the agricultural aspect of it, we have a lot of loans that have been issued to young people. If you bring $10,000, we give you $90,000 to start your own farm and your own business. So that is something that is good for young people. So young people should also embrace some of these opportunities that the NPP government is issuing out to them.
Mr. Drame.
Money.
Mr. Mani.
Yes.
Sorry, I keep mixing up your names.
Yes.
What are some of the policies that your youth wing have brought forward, and your party you would say that my party has adopted this policy from the youth wing and put it into place?
Well, I think he misunderstood your question. And then youth wings, like I've said, students wings are the intellectual hubs. Youth wings are more or less the powerhouse of any futuristic organization. UDP, for instance, today we're talking about Suleiman Saho. Suleiman Saho was the National Youth Wing president before the Haji Swane's tenure. And Suleiman Saho now is a National Assembly member. Our current president, National Youth Wing, Haji Swane, contested at the Fuladu East this past parliamentary election and lost. Jarai Fainke is also part of our national youth wing as the second vice president, also contested at the Janjambre election. And you have a host of young people that were in the students wing that are now already into the representative position nationally. So this is what youth wings are created for, so that when positions are opened in national level, you give them chance to also contest these positions. But if you cannot, Mr. Al-Hassan is yet to mention any particular person that was given an opportunity from their youth wing to contest these positions in the National Assembly, at the local council. If you talk about the council level, we have a whole host of young people from the youth wing that are now serving in councils as councillors from the ward. So I can say at least 30% of our councillors that have won are all young people, 35 years and below. And these are from the youth wings, and some are even in the students wing. So this is why UDP is the emblem and the paragon of the political democracy that youths will enjoy. This is why many young people, even those that are in the NPP, have to come through the United Democratic Party to also transition to other political parties, and then establish their. Some have established their own parties. Some have joined the National Democratic NPP and National People's Party, and they are serving in the leadership positions there. So UDP is more or less a training hub also for young people as far as political participation is concerned.
Both of you are
who left
representing
the party, who ran away from the party because they were oppressed. Look at people like President Barrow. They were all oppressed in the
How
party.
can you say the president is oppressed?
Talib Bensouda was also oppressed and he left the party.
You see,
so
this boy doesn't understand issues. You cannot say they are oppressed. We all know the reason why those people left the party. Maybe I can help him understand the reason why those people left the party.
My question goes to your youth wings.
No, you have asked him a question on why the state. There was a statistic given. Let him go through that, and then I can come.
Mr. Drame, you both represent, Mr. Mane and Mr. Drame, you both represent your various youth wings.
Yeah.
Policy-wise, both of you are young, and the university is a large faculty. Every day, youths are having discussions about, it could be the economy, the way, the security of the state. Did you look at all these things and say, okay, how about we draft a policy that's going to help young people, the unemployment rate, all of these things factored together and say, let's do this. Maybe, perhaps if we do this, we might be able to get the attention of the young people to come to our party and vote. What are some of the policies that you people have worked on so far?
Thank you. So now you come to my point. The reason why United Democratic Party is distinguished from these other parties is because of the policies and framework that we put forward and discuss to the electorates. If you look at our 5-point agenda, the first two talks about the youth. The first one is youth empowerment and employment. We do not necessarily have to employ people, we empower them. And how do we empower these people? Today you talk about the skill centers. These people have learned engineering there. You give them contracts, road contracts, other government contracts, so that you empower them through that. But now we've seen a government that is graduating thousands and hundreds of young people from these civic sectors and from the universities. What empowerment projects do they have for these people? The only thing now we're talking about as far as employment is concerned, and the professor will agree with me, is internship. Internship. As we speak, not long ago, last week, a student that is due graduation contacted me that whether I've seen a place for an internship that she wants to engage herself busy at that place. So I am a graduate, and I know what I have gone through. I'm yet to be even employed by the state or by any other organization that is dealing with the state. And this is the plight of a whole host of young people. So the UDP is saying first on our priority is youth employment and empowerment. And we cannot effectuate this and put this into practice if we do not come into governance. That is true, winning the 2026 election. Two is education, training, and skills development. Our education system, the curriculum, is messed up. How can people be still drawing cockroaches and thinking that they are going far? How can you determine people's intelligence through drawing frogs at grade 9 or fish, at grade 9, so that if they do not pass that, you say they are not intelligent, they become drops out? We want to revisit this curriculum and inculcate a better practical way of solving our educational system. So that is the education aspect of our policy. Then the training also, we know the teachers also, those that are taking the students through this curriculum, they definitely need trainings. There are a lot of educational materials that are missing even at the University of the Gambia. Like I've said, I'm a graduate from the University of the Gambia, and I know we have done at least three years Brikama, then we are in the Brikama campus. And I was majoring in English language. There isn't a single library where I can visit to read Shakespearean dictions or Shakespearean playbooks. I go to the Farbabantan campus. The time they said the library was open, I was nearly done, and I'm not sure even the library is in full functioning now. So this training is also important. Now the skills also. Certain people have graduated with skills. How do you empower their skills? Even this, look at sports, is already, you know, a money-making machine for our whole countries. Look at Brazil, look at Argentina. The economy of these countries is built from football and sports. What else can we talk about Argentina if not sports? What else can we talk about Brazil if not sports? And we've seen Sadio Mane alone turning a whole village inside out, Bambali, through his participation in sports.
Let's keep it short.
Can't we have Yankuba Mintes, thousands of Yankuba Mintes here to help the government through public government partnership or individual government partnership to develop this country? Because today Yankuba Minte is capable of bringing at least 4, 5 or 7 boreholes in a particular community, and that is nothing to him. So the skills need to be developed, but you cannot develop skills if you do not have the infrastructure. At least 10 years now, these people are in government, they cannot even face a single stadium.
Thank you, Mr. Madam. Mr. Dame, tell us.
So,
policies.
Yes, they are just repeating. I think that goes back to why some people said they are trying to draw similarities between the opposition parties and the government. It's not because of the NPP, but because the opposition don't have something new to bring on the table. They don't have any alternative that they are going to bring. All the youth empowerment projects that he's talking about, we are already far into that. We have TVET centers, you go to different regions, you find them there, people are learning skills. Even if you are a dropout, you get a second chance to go back to school to learn. All the systems are there. And if he said the education system has failed the Gambia, but then we are seeing intellectuals seated here in this room, has it failed them too? I want to ask you that question. We have seen so many intellectuals in the Gambia, and they all passed through our university, through our education system. And it seems like it's been a long time since he left the university, but a lot of things has improved. Go to Faraba, you wouldn't recognize it. It's a state-of-art facilities that they have there. You go to the school, due to President Barrow's visionary leadership, he's able to think that, okay, maybe in the next 10 years, we need Gambian doctors, because we've seen that when we go to our hospital, we have less Gambian doctors there. So he's trying to pump in millions of dollars to ensure that,
about 2 policies there for young people, at least.
Hold on a minute. To ensure, because you know I'm hitting the nail. That is why you're trying
because you are creating a problem. You are not creating a solution.
To ensure that we have a
well-educated I think the both of you misunderstood my question. My question was, your youth wings, what are the policies that you've brought into your party?
These are our youth wing policies. I've talked about 2 important policies that are youth-related policies. That is youth empowerment and empowerment.
That you developed.
Yes.
Your youth wing. And
I've said here, and Professor will agree with me, that I said, our youth wing leadership, our youth wing leadership are also part of the National Executive Committee of the party. The decision making there is part of the youth. So these policies are brought in and developed by the youth. Let him mention 2 policies that they have developed at their youth level, and it's already been implemented.
He still has answered the question. No, you haven't answered it. They are talking about what your youth wing has done, but you are talking about
what our youth wing has done.
Yeah, that's the question.
The policies.
That's the question. Your youth wing has developed.
Why do we have the resources to implement something that we are not entrusted with?
Come on. Should be creative,
exactly.
Innovative.
This is why we have it as a policy.
That is where my question comes from. Why are you not enabled to have the resources to be able to
make... But we are not in government.
The creativity is not there.
But you are youth wings. You are there to represent the youth.
No. We are not in government. We are not in government. We don't have
that is
the,
Mr. Guy,
in government.
No,
Let
just
Mr.
come
Guy
to
put
me.
that
I
to-
haven't answered the question.
Mr. Guy, am I right to say they can be given the opportunity to also be involved in decision makings in their various political parties? Because we are talking about how can they empower you to also be part of the decision makings of the party? Because
Yes. That is why something as important as a manifesto of a political party, I think that is the most important, one of the most important document of a political party. They are including young people in that manifesto committee, and we have seen what they have done. They have done wonders. One of the most progressive manifestos that they have developed. The young people are there, and when you go to our National Executive Council, you'll find young people there. They elevate young people there. A lot of young people are there in that National Executive, and they take key decisions in that. Because if young people are not seated in the room, then they wouldn't be able to speak for themselves. That is what they have highlighted, and they are bringing in young people there. And when you go to the administrative secretariat, which is the engine of the political party, they are bringing a lot of young people so that we can also capture their visions, because you need them in that engine room in order for them to also inject the ideas that they have into the political party, and it has been bringing a lot of difference in that political party. So we'll want to thank the administrative secretariat, most especially the administrative secretary, for bringing young people into his work and involving us.
Mr. Guy, you want to come in?
No, I think it's very interesting discussion. We just turned into a UDP, NPP political debate.
I know, right?
But nonetheless, I think speaking in general, I think when it comes to politics, young people are inherently marginalized. And we need to do more, not only within the political party manifestos, but also taking decisive steps, that is deliberate action. I remember at the time of the drafting of the current election bill, we were somewhere around 2020, I think, for the bill to contain quota system for female and young people in general. That proposition was rejected by political parties themselves.
Wow.
Because there was a deliberate attempt to include young people through a quota system that will mandate political parties to bring young people on board. Some were citing that, well, that is not in the constitution, but sitting in that room and hearing political parties reject the idea, it's baffling to see. And I was in one of the engagements, and I raised the issue. One political party officer was telling me, no, that hasn't changed. It's there. But when you check the current election act, that was totally omitted. So there must be willingness from political parties to deliberately engage young people in the processes of governance so that they can take active role as far as politics is concerned. And when we talk about active role, I mean, we're talking about the roles that matters, the position that really matters, governance position, administrative position at the highest level of government, and also in the National Assembly. I think he is somehow right that in the 2017 National Assembly, there were a lot of young people. Which political party they belong to, I don't know.
Yeah.
They belong to a lot of yes, a lot of young people were elected
alliance
in that position. I mean, these are the sort of things that we need to see, young people in those kind of positions. And I think no political party can win election without the participation of young people. IEC data has that. Majority of young people dominate the voter registration list.
Exactly.
And therefore, you need to target young people.
Yeah.
But if we have time, I can also tell you where to get young people.
4 minutes to go.
Yes.
I think this is a very important topic to discuss, but the time is very short. So I'll give each of you 1 minute to tell me, if a 27-year-old is watching, and like he mentioned, they're frustrated about the economy, you are not given opportunity. The person that is watching will say, Mandama Sona, don't vote that, because my vote will not make account. How would you convince that person to get registered and vote?
So just to add more flex to the bone from the professor is that youths constitute the majority of our population demographic, and then in politics, representation and decision making is very, very important. So if you constitute the highest demographic in the population and you are not there where decision makings are done, that means that people will make decisions on your behalf, and these decisions is what is going to affect you in the future. But young people will continue to say we are the leaders of tomorrow, but these policies transition to tomorrow. So that means that it's important that we engage in active political participation. And I'm very much pleased that the likes of Al Hassans are now into politics. He was not a very active member in politics, but I commend him for taking this decisive step and also to be part of a political party. You know,
so the question. We have 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah. No, you know, giving credit to Al Hassan for joining a political party is also encouraging a young person out there to also join a political party, because today Al Hassan and I are speaking here from a point of political participation. We are not here because we are analysts of, you know, or how the professor is, you know, represented here. We are represented here because of the political parties that we have, you know, enjoying ourselves.
Thank you very much. How would you convince a person watching that is frustrated about the whole system? How would you, you know, how would you advise them to vote, and how important is their vote?
Yes. So I'll just return all the compliments he's also given me before I go forward.
We have very limited time.
Yes,
1 minute.
That is the compliment. But then it's also very important as a young person. You don't try to defer whatever you want to do, because you are not promised tomorrow. You don't know if you'll even be part of it. So today is what you have control over. So try to do the best that you can. Don't just sit and say, okay, if I become a politician, maybe I'll go and sit on TV, say something, and tomorrow they'll play my VARs, my videos. That doesn't matter. The little things that you are going to do with the limited resources that you have and the limited time that you have, that is what is most important. Probably it is going to be maybe just a kind smile that you are going to extend to somebody, maybe from UDP, and make their life feel better. Or probably it's going to be a scholarship that you are going to probably offer to somebody. When I was going to the university, I really, I was very much affected by not having scholarship. But when I came to NPP, I tried to make sure that I'm also able to push for other people to get scholarship. The first person that got scholarship through my influence, I was just so happy. I was just so over the moon. To me, even if my political career stopped there, then that was enough for me. So those little things, they matter. They change somebody's life. Probably that person is going to be the next president of the Gambia. You never know.
Thank you very much, Al Hassan. Mr. Gay, you were the man on the ground doing the survey, right? If you were going to advise someone that is frustrated about the whole system, what would you advise them to vote? And how is that going to add to their frustration?
Well, participation and holding leaders to account, and also joining political parties, because you just don't have it out of the blue. You must join a political movement. You must have ambition to join political parties. Okay? In as much as political parties will need your vote, but if you want to participate, you must have leadership ambition. Okay? And you have that. How do you have that? Is by deciding to join a political movement or a political organization where your dream can be achieved. Because political parties are what? Platform for recruiting young people into politics, platform for what? Recruiting leaders in various governmental positions. So how you interest yourself in politics also will really help you define your political journey. And I think that is what these two young gentlemen have done. I've never thought in my life that Alassane was going to join a political movement, by the way. Yeah. But, you know, happy to see them, you know, debating about political issues. And it stops only at that. Love for the Gambia. Partisan politics is normal, but it has to be done constructively, objectively, as far as your various political parties are concerned.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gay, and thank you very much, viewers, for tuning in for this episode of the Youth Dialogue. And if a youth watching and you're frustrated, please don't give up. Your vote means a lot, and it can create a huge difference. So come December, go out, exercise your civic duty, and vote wisely. Thank you very much. Bye-bye from me and the whole production team.